What I'm getting ready to share with you, nobody else is teaching. You know why? Because they don't know it. You see, the old proven HVAC business model is dying. You need to pay attention to this one.
Welcome to HVAC Greatness, your weekly source for HVAC business excellence. By subscribing and tuning in here, you'll get insider access to proven strategies, tips, and insights for the HVAC business owner who's tired of the stress and frustrations and struggles that are common to HVAC. Let's redesign your new, highly organized, and hugely profitable HVAC business where being an owner is fun again.
Hey guys, welcome to HVAC Greatness Podcast. I took about a week off from recording. Had a lot of stuff going on. Hope you guys enjoyed today's session. It'll be brief. I won't go too long on you, but I wanted to talk about three key elements that the industry is generally avoiding right now. I don't even think they're aware of this. Our business has built, our industry has built a collective set of kind of rules of the game. This is the way that we measure our business and its success, and this is the model. And what I'm suggesting, and I think reality verifies this, this is beyond an opinion in my point, in my opinion, beyond my opinion, in my opinion. But the point is, I think you're going to share my thoughts on this or my opinion on this as we go into this. So let's just talk about a few of these things. First of all, I'm going to drop this back screen out and let's see here. Let's go with my regular one. There we go. Because the process is part of this. And I'll explain to you why. And it's not about this right now. Okay. It's important. But what I want to talk to you about, the world is changing. The economy is changing. People's priorities are changing. And I'm going to suggest to you that the number one power interruption, the number one most valuable asset that you have after your HVAC technical skills is the asset of loyalty or a relationship between you and your customers. Now, before you go, oh my gosh, Pete, this is going to get boring. No, you listen to me. Customer loyalty needs to be replaced, or let's say enhanced, with something called customer entanglement. And if you've heard of that expression, entanglement is something that's kind of sticky. It's kind of hard to let go. All right. So your customer may be connected to you and hard to let go for emotional reasons, like, you've been doing business for years and they're really loyal to you. But when their circumstances change, that's an easy break. Okay. A lot of people are going to lose a lot of customers because they're missing this very important point. Their values are changing because their reality is changing. Their priorities, therefore, are going to change. During tough times, people get less haircuts. Barbers get less work. Okay. Our industry is going to be affected by this. And I'm kind of assuming that everybody listening understands what this country, United States primarily, Canada as well, we're joined at the hip, is getting ready to go through. And it's already started. We're hearing the rumors of the banking and we've seen inflation start to take off. We know that the Fed is basically bankrupt. I think for the first time in over 100 years, they're going to report this huge deficit, not to mention the country's overall debt, trillions of dollars and et cetera and so forth. Anyway, the United States dollar, all this stuff is going through change, okay? And we don't need to go into detail, but what we need to understand as business owners is that this is going to affect your business. A lot of the big companies out there are going to go under because you guys aren't prepared for this, you larger companies. You think that your history and your success that got you to this point is going to get you through what's coming. And that, unfortunately, if that is your way of thinking, you're going to be miserably disappointed. There's we're getting ready to hit a change and a shift in our entire culture on how people buy and why people buy. And so when I mentioned entanglement, if you're hard to let go of for reasons beyond just that loyalty and we really like you and everything else, that's going to work in your benefit. And an example of that could be your warranty. For example, if the equipment is under warranty only through you, well, it'd be kind of hard to call somebody else out. Or if your membership maintenance program had loyalty points in there, let's say that for every year that they have an uninterrupted maintenance with your company, they're accruing actual dollars that will apply towards future purchases, then they're probably not going to let go of that as easily. Okay. If they perceive your work as being unmatched because of some reason, they really don't feel they can call somebody else and get them out here. But the pressure's still going to be there to do that economically. Everybody's going to feel it, even your best customers, they're going to feel it. And so understanding the importance of avoiding just the price direction that this is going to go in and taking a better strategy, this is key. Okay, so number one, as I mentioned, you've got to hold customer loyalty, and the strategy to do that is now going to change. Number two is your prospects or your prospective customer appeal. You see, your customer base that's sustaining you now will start to attrition. They're going to start to fall off. And so you're going to have to replace those customers. And when you bring in new customers, a lot of times you have to break them in, right? They don't want to pay your prices. They don't see your value. And so it's not easy, particularly if they're bringing this bias in with them of what they think they want. And it's predicated on their ignorance of what we do. So what we need is a better curbside appeal. What we need is a more desirable impression in the way that you're branded. And more specifically, I'm not just talking about a cool wrap. Cool wraps are great, but we're talking about fundamentally, emotionally powerful messaging that speaks to people way in here and they go, that's what I need. This is what I'm looking for. And if you're just another heating and air conditioning company, you're not going to have that type of an emotional impact. In fact, you'll have the opposite. And you'll hear this when you're on estimates and when you're talking to customers who have spoken with your competition, they'll tell you, you're $1,000 higher. The other company is going to put in this same equipment with the same warranties. The same inspector is going to come out and inspect it and make sure it's okay. Why should I pay you $1,000 more? Okay, those are the types of conversations that are had because they equate the equipment as one differentiator, quality of the equipment, the price as another differentiator, and that's all they have to work with. And so your ability to communicate your value, not just on your internal sales process and then all of your internal, your customer experience, from the get-go, curbside appeal, the prospect impression, not the customer impression, the future customer, which we call a prospective customer's impression. How do we get more appeal out of that? Well, we have to go in and do some work. We have to go through a process, right? We have to go through step by step to step, and we have to understand who our customers are at a deeper level and break that into key pieces and understand each of these elements, see who we are, adjust that, because, if you want to sell something, go find what your customers want to buy and sell them that, okay? You already have customers, right? So we have to speak to what they think they want as well as what they truly need. And that's a delicate balance. So this gets into heavy psychology and it gets pretty deep, I know, but Curbside appeal. Appealing to prospective customers is number two. So because we're gonna have to replace customers as they fall off. So your ability to attract new customers, to convert and keep those customers and make them existing customers and not lose them, in other words, maintain that customer base, is your new marketing gold. I cannot overemphasize this. I talk to HVAC new business owners, particularly every day, that are convinced that it's the quality of their work that keeps their customers coming back. And while that is true, their interpretation of that quality is skewed. It is not accurate. It is not based on technical insights and understandings that you and I can talk about. It's based on their impressions of those. And they judge you by things like the cleanliness of your van, your uniforms, the vocabulary that rolls off your tongue, your speech, how you communicate, the way you clean up the service areas and work areas, the way things look clean and balanced and, what was the word? Symmetrically in place. Okay, everything looks good. It looks like, I don't know what that thing is they put in there, but it sure looks good. Okay? So nice sharp turns and level pads and things like that. So communication of quality of your greatness. Okay, that's what my business model is built on. If you're going to really do this great work, how do you communicate that? You're going to have to be the best in your market if you're going to do that. And if you're going to maintain employees, you're going to have to do that very effectively. I think that a lot of the larger businesses are going to go out. And I think that there's a percentage of them that are going to figure this out, and there's going to be a huge gap between them and everybody else. Therefore, they'll justify to those who can afford their services why they should keep coming back. Guys, I listen to myself talk sometimes and I think, man, I'm really understating the importance of this. I'm really not communicating how vital, how important, how impactful this is going to be. Guys, people are going to be in the worst positions of their life. This is a moving target. There is no perfect answer. But these things that I'm sharing with you will always be a part of this equation. Which leads us to number three. How are you marketing yourself to your community? What is your position in your market? Is your position unique? We call this a unique marketing position. A lot of people do this through branding. You look at their truck wrap and it's very unique when you compare it to the competition. This is an awesome first step. As we move into the future, step one is not enough. In fact, step one requires more clarity, deeper communication. It has to speak to something beyond heating and air conditioning. Here's why. I'm looking at your digital representation of your company because I need a heating and air conditioning service out here. I'm worried. The economy's tight. I don't want just anybody in my house. There's a lot of people that are hacks right now because the job market's gone south. There's a lot of people out here doing this on the side. I don't know what kind of work they do. I don't want to spend too much. In fact, I can't afford to spend too much. But I'm not dumb enough to know or inexperienced enough to know that I go with one of these hacks and it won't ultimately cost me even more. To have somebody who knows what they're doing to come in here and do it right. So I'm measuring my prospective contractors, the company that I'm going to choose with, through a different set of lenses, through different judgments. And I'm a layperson meaning I'm no expert at heating and air. I've got Google, maybe I've got ChatGPT or whatever it's called. What is it about your marketing that allows you to stand out? And what can you do to accentuate that impact? Well, there's something called a unique marketing position, which allows you to position yourself uniquely. And again, but this is beyond your brand. You're going to market differently. There's another one called your unique marketing mechanism. And a mechanism would be the way that you approach heating and air conditioning and how you're different. So an example might be, I'm Mr. Solar Geotherm. Okay. I incorporate solar electricity with geothermal heat pump technology so that we get you off the grid, and that's my specialty, right? That gives me a unique marketing position that nobody else can compete with unless they choose the same particular specialty. Which comes into this whole thing. Do I generalize everything heating and air? Do I specialize? This is what we do. You know, I'm Mr. Ductless, right? We do everything ductless. Let's tear out that old filthy ducted system and let's get you over to the nice, clean, inexpensive ductless systems of today, right? You can agree with that or disagree with that, but somebody's going to market that and they're going to tear it up and they're going to tear you up. But these are different specializations that allow customers to perceive this company as smart. Think about a tutor. Let's say you're in school and you're struggling in math. Would you hire a tutor? Prefer a tutor that they tutor everything: English, history, mathematics, a foreign language, art, all this different stuff. By the way, they do math as well. Or some type of a math genius and all they do is tutor math, right? Depending on what you wanted, you definitely perceive the specialist as better. And the cool thing about being a specialist, and by the way, if you can't tell, this is kind of what I like. If not a specialist in the product, but certainly in your approach to service, that's your mechanism. And we talk about all that stuff over here. Okay. There's something called a halo bias that comes with that. They go, oh my gosh, he's good at math. He must be smart. Or she must be smart. They must be good at everything. You see, when you specialize in you're setting yourself up as some type of an expert in your market, in your community, as the best, right? The specialist. Because you're so good and you're so refined on this, the automatic assumption of people, call this the halo bias again, is that, man, you must be smart and good at everything. And so the external equity exists, but it's much more powerful in terms of the internal benefit. Okay. I should say external benefit, just the opposite, because your external benefit would be in terms of the bank, money in the bank. Internal benefit, I feel good about myself because I can do all of these different things. But the external benefit of being a specialist is there's more money in this. And this builds to the psychology. Most of you, if you think like I did, well, I want everybody to know I do everything because I can miss calls. I need work. The studies show that this works different than we perceive. Okay, so first of all, the market's huge, but when you narrow in to one specific specialization, you got to do your homework and go through a process, but you're specializing. Let's say you're Mr. Oil Furnace, which hopefully you're not because those things are going, but you're Mr. Oil Furnace, and you're everything oil you do. So you're gonna get a big following on that. But if you're trying to be everything to everybody, heating, air conditioning, vinyl siding, chain link fencing, and plumbing, you kind of lose value from that curbside appeal. Now, this is another one of those handyman type people that think they can service my heating and air conditioning system, and I've got enough experience to know that there's hacks out there and they'll screw my stuff up, and I don't want that. Right. So I saw a study, and I'll just share this with you real quick. There was a supermarket. They had put out 26 different varieties of jams, fruit jams, like strawberry, figs, grape, peaches and just apricots and all these different flavors. So it was 26. And of the customers that came in, they had a promotion. The customers that came in and walked by, it was about 80% that stopped and looked at that and all these varieties. And the people that actually purchased was about 3% of those that stopped by. Okay. Then they continued the study, and this time, instead of having 26 varieties, they only had 6. 6 selections, less options. And so as people passed by, 80% of the people didn't stop, more like 60%. Fewer people stopped by, but still a lot of people. But of those that did, 30% of those who looked actually purchased. And so the weird thing about how human nature works, when there's too many options, there's too much consideration, the brain kind of gets stuck and it doesn't do anything. This is why when you offer equipment selection, don't give 10, an estimate with 10 options. It goes into a confusion state and they won't make a decision. But if you reduce those down to just 3 or 4 and they're properly positioned and they resemble, let's say, the properly positioned fuel grades at the fuel pump that they're already familiar with, and there's a buying pattern there, then they automatically, subconsciously can relate to this, and it makes buying easier. And remember, people buy for emotional reasons and they justify for logical reasons. And it's for that reason that we have to engage both the right and left brain simultaneously, collectively. But we love to speak logic, don't we? This is a 3.5 ton. It's a 18.6 SEER. That furnace is 98% AFUE. It's got variable speed. It's got this great HEPA filtration system, and it's got a UV light. This is logic stuff. But if you learn to translate that into an emotional communication that people can understand at a subconscious level, the impact is made. And if that will work at the sales table, that will work at the curbside. If that will work in your price book, that will work on your website. But what we have to do is learn these psychological strategies and understand them and get them implemented ASAP. This is a matter of business life and death. This is serious stuff, guys. So the question is, you want to be a generalized HVAC business, or you want to be an all-star specialist turning heads in a market where everybody's trying to be everything to everybody? If you start with expertise and credibility, and you understand how to communicate that, both left brain and right brain, with nice visual concepts, is why a nice vehicle wrap is going to be probably one of your best returns on investment for advertising and marketing available to you, because it's something that once you put up, you're driving it around, you're in your community every day. We were talking on one of our mastermind groups the other day, and my partner, the other coach, said one of his customers shifted their business message to, before you replace it, let me fix it. Let me look at it. I can fix anything. So his marketing position was, he was the fix it guy. I can fix anything. Don't go replacing it until I look at it. And so as he looks at it, maybe he does need to replace it, but at least he's in a position to get that lead and get it converted over to him, pull that away from his competition. And if the customer just doesn't have the money to replace or the credit, maybe they just have to repair. Maybe you have to rebuild some equipment partially. Maybe there's some things that you have to do, but this is business for you. And this builds value, this builds loyalty, and it builds customer equity. It builds customer entanglement. Is what I meant to say. You're the guy. You're the one. You can fix anything. You're the specialist. If that's your niche, that's your specialty. So your specialty does not have to be externally like Mr. Solar geothermal heat pump. It could be your approach to service, right? It could be the brand of equipment that you offer. It could be something, your mechanism that you add to that. And your mechanism, I think I mentioned this on one of the prior ones. Colgate come out with some phosphate, patented phosphate formula that was extra good protection for your teeth, right? But in order to get that patented phosphate, whatever, you had to buy the Colgate, that particular brand. That's called a marketing mechanism. Ford uses that Echo Boost, where it combines three technologies to get you power and save fuel, right? But only with Echo Boost, right? So these are things that we're incorporating in with our students, with our companies that are going through this metamorphosis, and they're preparing the business, because the competition for new customers is going to go through the roof as new customers' perspectives and approach to finding solutions for their issues change. It's going to change. It is here. It has already started. I am hearing of unscrupulous things that some of the larger companies are doing in order to get their technicians to sell equipment, even to the point of where it is dishonest. And guys, if there's one piece of advice I can give you today, is stay honest, keep your integrity, and make sure you never, ever lie to get work. Lose the sales tactics and learn to be a consultant. Learn to be an ally. Learn to sit beside them at the table as we tack this problem together, as opposed to across from the table as we go back and forth on me trying to sell you and you trying to, get out as cheap as you can. It's a confrontational relationship that needs to be replaced. And I think that the future is really going to be in the hands of the large business that understands this, medium to large businesses that understand this, and the small companies, the individuals who incorporate. A lot of people do this naturally, and word of mouth is going to send them through the roof because they'll trust your neighbor, that third-party validation, the third person that's speaking about the two parties involved. I can say, well, Pete's the best, P. Well, of course, Pete's going to say that, right? But if somebody else says, wow, I worked with Pete, this guy's really good, you need to talk to him because he helped me with this, and that, then it has validation. Same with you, right? You can tell them how great you are all day long, but it's those referrals that really have the impact. And it's for this reason, you can never, ever do anything dishonest. It's going to hurt your reputation, and everything that you do, even when you lose the sale, should be done with the intention of enhancing your reputation. So what is the number one most overlooked need for HVAC business success today? I think it's these three steps in this strategy as we transition away from the old business model. We're going to have to cut costs. We're going to have to cut overhead. You're going to see people give up their buildings. We're going to have to see people moving to being home-based, or their technicians working from home, dispatch from home, things like this. As we can partially meet that more competitive, price competitive market that's out there. We got to meet them part of the way on that, without sacrificing quality, without sacrificing doing a good, thorough assessment, as well as giving good, thorough work options for the customers that they really deserve that, and that's what it's all about. So as we face these new challenges, hopefully you'll pick up something on this. I welcome you guys to come on over to the HVAC Greatness process. We'll walk you through this. We start with the new customer, what's making them tick now, and we talk about how to measure that so that you can constantly adjust your strategy and stay ahead of this curve instead of running at the end of the pack where the view never changes. Pete Ramsey here, HVAC Greatness. See you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.
Hey, it's Pete. A quick thank you for joining me today on HVAC Greatness, or maybe just letting me keep you company as you're out running about. Either way, I sincerely hope that you picked up on something today that might help you and your business progress on your journey to HVAC greatness. Want more? Make sure we stay on the air. Share the podcast with a friend. Rate and review it. Be sure to subscribe to our email list at HVACgreatness.com so that you don't miss anything. This is Pete Ramsey signing out and reminding you why your customers love your business and what makes your company great. In one word, you. So let's keep refining your already good image and make it truly great.